Good morning, everyone, dear beloved viewers. My name is Teddy Mswanda from the University of Zambia Student Law Association Major Committee. And today we have a very important guest that we as law students hold dear, Mr. Dickson Jere. Welcome.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to interact with University of Zambia students, in particular Uzalo, having been at Unza myself, so it's a pleasure.
Indeed. We must say it's a huge privilege for us to be here and having this conversation. We wish to draw inspiration based on these interactions.
Sure.
Yes. We'd just love to dive right in. Being undoubtedly having a profound career, but we want to start from the very beginning. Would you please just run us through your upbringing, your background, and your subsequent journey into law, and what inspired such trajectory?
Well, it's a long story. We can take the whole day just on that. But briefly, I started my school in Matero at Olofea, which is a welfare. That was my preschool. I then went to Matero Boys Primary School. It's a school which is known to have produced quite a number of people, including the current Chief Justice, Mumba Malila, was at Matero Boys Primary School. I did my grade 1 to 7 at Matero Boys. I then went to Munari Boys Secondary School, where I did my grade 8 to 12. So from grade 7 to 12, I was on the boys' school. After I graduated from the high school, I then entered journalism. But then, while I was at Munari, I had already started writing. And those of my friends who can remember that some of my articles used to appear in the then Weekly Post while I was still at Munari. So that's what made me get into journalism. And because I was strong in writing and practice, I ended up getting to Everyman College to do the diploma in journalism, which was one of the hallmark of journalism training those days. So while I was still at college, I continued contributing to the Post, and I became part and parcel of the establishment. After I left the Post newspaper, I worked for a while there. After I left, I then entered into international reporting. So I worked for the BBC Africa Service here. I worked for AFP, which is one of the biggest news agencies in the world. And it is AFP that made me travel the world. I worked in South Africa, Harare, Zimbabwe. I worked in Nairobi, Kenya. I worked in Senegal, Dakar. I even worked in France, Paris. And during that period, of course, I was up and about. I got back frequent to Zambia while I was doing those assignments. In between, I got elected as the president of the Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia. I think that was 2002. It was just a few months after President Manawasa had been elected as president of the Republic of Zambia. And during that period, we had issues to do with media reforms. And I was quite vocal against the government of President Levi Manawasa. And I remember during that period that he got in touch with me and asked me whether I would be willing to be part of the constitutional reforms which he was about to implement. We didn't agree on the modalities, but one night he then addressed the nation and announced that he was going to reform the laws in Zambia, starting with the constitution, and he was appointing a constitutional review commission. And known to me, in his address, he announced my name as part of those to be appointed in the commission. And of course, there was drama amongst my friends, including the civil society. They thought I sold out. I tried to explain that the president appointed me without really agreeing on modalities. So what followed then, the president realized that this was causing problem for me. He then asked MISA Zambia to give him the name of the person who should sit on the Constitutional Review Commission. Then he indicated to them that I have appointed Mr. Jere in his individual capacity and I won't let him go. And that's how I stayed. So 2003, we began that process of going around the country and trying to amend the Constitution of Zambia. Now, the Constitutional Review Commission, popularly known as CRC, had a number of non-senior lawyers. It was headed by William Ngomba, one of the distinguished lawyers Zambia has ever produced. The only Zambian, and if not mistaken, the only person from Southern Africa to have had served as the Africa Development Bank president. So he was a distinguished lawyer. He ran a firm called WDM Associates. I worked with him. So in that team, there was people like Professor Mvunga. There was Dr. Joshua Kanganja, who was the secretary to the cabinet then, but distinguished scholar and a lawyer. So it was during those interactions. By the way, we were also with the speaker of the current speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti. It was a good team. And each time I sat in those deliberations, I could see how they were arguing, the way they handled matters, the use of the language. So I got extremely inspired that I should go and do law, the profession I wanted to do earlier before even journalism. So in 2003, that's how I applied to get back to school, and I was accepted at UNZA. So while I was at CRC, I was also a student, and we were well paid at CRC, so I was one of the most well paid students. I had money then, so it was easy for me to go around. Yes. So we did that was about 3 years of CRC. And during that point, so I had people like Professor Mvunga, who was my lecturer at UNZA. But
we were on the board together.
Yes, exactly. So it was his interaction. In fact, all his classes, I think he taught us jurisprudence and taught. He made sure that I was the class rep for those 2 courses. So we had a good time together. And that's how I found myself working at his law firm. Yeah, so he said when you have a bit of time, you can come through to the firm. And we started building the relationship. Come 2008, President Marawasa died. And there was a by-election that came in to elect a new president. I played some role in that by-election as a media consultant to then acting President Rupia Banda. He won that election in 2008, and he immediately asked me if I could stay on as his special assistant to the president. That's how I then abandoned the law processes and went to working status. So my intake proceeded to Ziare. They didn't qualify, so they're all my seniors, with the exception of few. So I then stayed back, so I worked at Status and immediately lost the election in 2011. I decided to go and to do my bar exam. So if you see my intake, I'm probably one of the few juniors because they went ahead of me. But I had a couple of those who had difficulties, who went on 5-year ban. Those times there was the 5-year ban. And so those I'm senior to them. They are like 10 or so, who came later after me. But we kept a close knit as friends. Even now we still talk. We created a big bond at UNZA, and that bond has continued. So that's basically my journey into the legal practice. So when I was called to the bar, I went back to Professor Mvunga. So
what year was that?
That was 10, just after, 10 years ago. Yeah, just slightly 10 years ago. So I went back to work with Professor Mvunga. So I've only worked in one firm.
Oh, really?
So we worked together until when I clocked 5 years, I applied to open my own law firm. And that's how this firm was born. By the way, coincidentally, today, the 17th, is exactly 5 years since I opened this law firm. I've never moved anywhere. This has been my first office ever since I opened, and I've been here since. So it's the journey which I enjoyed. So I'm, of course, over 10 years at the bar, but the bigger part was with Professor Mvunga. So that's a journey.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Before we even talk about what made you stand up, what made you be glued to the President, Mr. Pierre Banda, and also the Professor Mvungas, let's just go back slightly behind with the 3 years time of you at UNZA. How did you grip? Of course, you had a job this side. How did you maneuver your time at law school with the difficulties, the challenges that we've had of how law school was? But
I don't know whether the law school is the same law school I went to, but it was a tough one.
Okay.
And that time, I think they still do the same, where you do courses with different students, different years. So you'll be the second year, but you may be doing a course with the third and the fourth.
Oh, yes.
So we are a combination. So it used to be the tough. I've never been to a tough school than UNZA Law School. So we had Professor Mvunga, I think then he was the acting dean for postgraduate, taking us in jurisprudence.
Okay.
We had Professor Mnalula, who's now president of the Constitutional Court, taking us in legal process. We had Professor Anyangwe from Cameroon, taking us in administrative law. We had the infamous John Sangwa, taking us, yes, very infamous, taking us in constitutional law, and we used to feel like hell. I mean, if you get 2, you're even lucky, or zeros in his class.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. We had Professor Musonda now, Judge Musonda, took us, I think, in administrative law. We had Patrick Matvini, he taught us, Dr. Matvini taught us land law. Mr. Mdenda was our tutor. We had Professor Alfred Chanda, who was the dean of the School of Law. He's the one actually who began the journey with us. Okay. Yeah, so we went through solid people in my time.
It was a big name.
Judge Kabazo Chanda was doing us constitutional. Professor Kurusika was also teaching us the criminal law. Yeah. So yes, I must say that I went through solid people.
Yes,
and we began as a big class.
Okay.
By the time we were going to the 3rd year, quite a number had dropped out because there it was very strict. I remember big names which dropped out in the law school.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, we fought through, and luckily we graduated.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, graduated. I think I missed a merit with 2 points. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that I was a bad student.
They're not generous.
Yeah. By the way, we also had the current Chief Justice, Mumba Marina. Yeah, he taught us commercial law. We used to call him Malicious Marina.
Why?
Because him and Johnson were very stingy with the marks. Yeah, so I got, I think, a B+ in Marila's course, both of them, 1 and 2. And I was very pleased with myself to get a B+ from
Malicious.
Yes, so you know, we had a good team.
That's nice.
I hope you guys still have strong lecturers like that.
We do. We do. Honestly, we do have our own share. So, who are some of the colleagues of you that you managed through? Do you still keep in touch with some of them?
Yes, I have. You know, my class was a bit strange because most of them, when they graduated, went into corporate. So, like this, I was just immediate past CEO for civil aviation. That was my class. We have Tentani Vanda was at ZRA. I think now he's CEO for Millennium Challenge. But a couple of them have ended up being judges and men in administrative and so on. So I'm trying to think who is active practice except myself, Ivan Sodara Chifumubanda, that was my class. There's Mr. Zulu, also active. So I should think I'm the only one who's very, very, very active.
Yes. Who's not?
Yeah, I think I'm the only one who's very, very active.
That's beautiful. Then you mentioned after you're done with your degree, you immediately went into State House.
Yes.
Your colleagues went to the bar exams, you went into State House with Pierre Banda.
Yes.
Why you? That's the question that we would ask. Why you?
Why me? I mean, the man is not here. He should have answered that question. But why me? But I'd ask him the question, why me? And I think he did explain that during the campaign we worked very well together with him. But one point he noticed that I was not there for money. I was not there to make a living out of the politics. I was there to assist, and I had a genuine belief in his presidents. So he then decided that just based on that, he thought that I would be more appropriate to be his special assistant for press and public relations. And also he said he saw that I was too honest during my dealings with him.
Okay.
So I think he's a better person, wherever he is, to give the explanation as to why he picked me. I was pretty young, 32 years, probably one of the youngest to ever, hold that position. So I got into there literally running because I was young and there was an issue whether I was able to manage that office. So that office had a full position, special assistant to the president. Then there was a deputy called chief analyst.
Okay.
So then it was agreed that, in fact, I was not even told. I was told I'm being appointed as special assistant to the president. On the day of swearing in, I realized I saw him in a different position.
Which position?
Which was a number 2. So I went and protested to the president. But I thought our discussion was, he said I didn't understand the nomenclature. So he said, okay, this simply put, you are my press secretary, the American one.
Oh, okay.
So just know that you are my press secretary. I said, thank you. So I went back to cabinet office.
Okay.
After back and forth. So I was sworn in twice, I think in 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the only one who took oath before the same president, same office twice. So sworn in chief analyst. Months later, sworn in as a special assistant to the president. Yeah.
And what did that role involve? And any challenges that you faced during that time, having talked about how magnum the nature of the responsibility was?
Well, I mean, there's no work I can compare to what I've done, which is more complicated than being in State House. Every other day there's something new. But so the legal background did help me. That in making decisions, in doing things, I used quite a number of theories which I learned in law, and that helped me. So law and journalism combined was a great opportunity. In fact, I was graduating while I was in State House, because I think there was a delay. So I remember the only letter I have ever received from President Rupia Banda, it's a letter he wrote to me when I was going for graduation. Yeah, so I don't know where it's there, because I need to frame it and put it somewhere, because the only letter I've ever received from him. Yes, written, addressed to me in the same office. He signs congratulating me for yes, and saying this legal, qualification adds more value to your job here at State House. I have that letter.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the only letter I've ever received from him, because the appointment came from Secretary to the Cabinet and all these other things that were coming to the Secretary to the Cabinet.
Yes.
So the only letter I received was from him. That one was for my graduation.
That's nice. You really need to film it, eh?
Yes, because it's special. Special.
So after time, you mentioned Band loses the election, then you're out of State House.
Yes.
What next? Did you have that confusion? Say, well, what do I do? Did you
no,
first going to law firm or?
No, I mean, for me, I've always planned my life 10 years ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so I knew that the election was tight, anything can happen, and if it happened, I knew that I needed to go to the legal roots and practice. One thing I'll tell you about law, of all professions, law gives you dignity, even after you've left a bigger office. I'm yet to see other professions where you leave and people still give you the same respect, and also you don't care who looks when you are working. So I had examples already ahead of me. So you may not know, maybe you are young. Vincent Malambo, State Counsel, was special assistant for politics at State House for President Jere.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I know you are all looking shocked. He was a special assistant. Then he eventually became an MP, Minister of Justice, and so on. When he left, he went back to the practice, started running Malambo Company, and little people realized that he was a powerful man in State House. Eric Sirwamba, State Counsel, was a minister and MP under Chirua, but Presidential Affairs Minister working in State House. When he left the State House in 2002, he ended up being partner at Eric Sirwamba Company, and he ran the law firm. Sebastian Zulu was Solicitor General of the Republic of Zambia and Minister of Justice in countertime. After he left, he eventually set up his law firm and continued. Professor Mvunga was Solicitor General. So I can give you a list of those who have been in high political office, but after they left, they went back to practice and they will bless the corridors of the court without any shame or looking ahead, who's looking at me that I've finished and whatever. So because of that, I knew that when I leave State House, that was the route I was going to practice. But when President Sata came in, he had offered me a job to continue.
Really?
Yes, but I couldn't because there was no way I would have left my close boss to go and work with his rival. There would have been a conflict. So I left, and I remember very well after we spoke with President Sata, and I told him that that was the route I was taking. He ordered for my benefits to be paid immediately. So I'm one of those retirees who left on the same day and paid on the same day in full because the president gave instruction. Yeah. So then I went to Jere with youngsters now because I'd lost some years. So the first thing I had to do was to fit in. Yeah. So I had to identify, and you know, law sometimes cases change. New development come in, so I needed to find young, brighter kids to be mingling with, so that I pick up what I missed during the period I was away from the practice. So yeah, it was an interesting, run at the Jere. The only uncomfortable thing is that quite a number of lecturers who worked in knew me by virtue of my State House job, and I became now a target. So I needed to read because every question that was Mr. Jere, and in fact, company law was worse because current Deputy Chief Justice Michael Msunda, everybody knew in the class that when he walks in, you just ask a question, Mr. Jere. When everything is stuck, you say, Mr. Jere. So he made me read and read and read. And I remember in one of the last classes, he came in, he asked a question, I answered, then he made a comment that I do not expect you to fail in this class, because I was able to assess and I can tell that you are ready for the area. And so, yeah, it was a good period. And of course, got called to the bar. Same day I was called to the bar, I was given a file by Professor Mvunga. The trial to go and argue, hey, Prof, I'm going to have a drink now. He said, but you haven't got to the bar. But then I did it the following week. Yeah, so he pushed me in the deep end. He would tell me there's this trial coming up. We are going together. Pick the file. I'm on my way. 9 hours, I'm calling him. He's not picking up his phone. The next he's saying, no, I'm just in the car park. No, something has up. Just start. Professor is at home. So he made me go that thing, and I had to handle trial, thinking this man is coming. He's not coming. And when he finished, he said, but there you are. You have done, and that's what practice is all about, to think out of the box. And he's the one who taught me one thing. Law school teaches you the law. It doesn't teach you the psychology of practicing the law. So you are here to be taught the practice of the psychology of the law. Yeah, so he would tell me, what do you do the first thing you enter in a courtroom? Assess the court, look at the mood of the judge, because they're also human beings. So all that, you can't learn it in a law school, you learn it every day. And those are the little tips that make me going. So we worked together 5 years. I then branched off to set up Dickson Jere and Associates. My initial plan was to remain with him because I was retired. And so I'd never wanted to set up my own firm. My initial thought was to have Mvunga Associates, and I become the anchor so that I keep the name of my mentor running. But that didn't work because the retirement was caught up with a lot of things. So I had to set up, and I think the firm is not operating anymore. So I'll find a way of honoring him, the same way Vincent Malambo did by naming his building as Derek Mwango, as somebody who brought him or mentored him in the law firm. So even me, I want to have my permanent building, which will be Mvunga House. just to honor him because of the opportunity he gave me when I worked with him. By the way, of all the people I've worked with in my life, only Professor Mvunga I never differed with.
Really?
I can't remember even a single day that me and Professor differed. With other people, we used to differ every day. Fred member used to differ every day. With my editors, BBC, we used to differ. With Professor, not a single day did I differ with him. He's a special guy. You know, he's a special guy. And every day in the morning, I looked forward to go to the office just to go and argue. Yeah, we would argue every case, we look at it from both sides and argue from both sides. And his ability to tell you, he points at his bookshelf and say, have you seen that book? Just pick it. I think go to page 160.
Really?
I think that argument is there.
And you'd find it?
Yes. So, you know, he was a unique guy. You know, you tell you, open that drawer.
Mm-hmm.
There must be a pamphlet there. You find that answer. Yeah, so I miss those morning tidbit, me and him. You know, and because also he was political, so we also discussed politics and so on. And by the way, he was also a best friend of Rupiah Band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, it's so interesting. Rupiah Band, I always believed Professor Mvunga should be president. So, oh, you guys were young. So Professor Mvunga even became president, vice president of UNIP. And the campaign manager for him now to take over UNIP so that he can run for president was Rupiah Band. You know, and as life has it, then he turned the other way around. His friend was campaigning for him to become president. And so I remember once in a while I would travel with Professor on the presidential jet with the president, and they would talk about all these old stories. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And before I end on this, Prof always wore suits.
Okay.
Yeah, whether he's going for a funeral, he's going to a farm, he'll be in a suit and a tie. And so Arabi used to laugh to say, I always tell Professor, we're driving here, Lusaka to Chipata, that's about 6 to 7 hours, but he's in a suit and a tie. I said, but why you do? He said, yeah, but what if we have an accident in the or something happened on the way and I need to represent you in court? I need to be always ready. So I always saw Professor with a jacket. Yeah, so those were good times. I worked with him.
So you just alluded that he was your mentor. So do you have anybody that you are mentoring to?
Yeah, I have a lot of youngsters who I think go through my hands, including the young man whom I started the law firm with as my first associate, Joe Kandani. Yeah, I try to mentor, you know, but I've always said mentorship shouldn't be a direct thing like you have come here, I want to be mentored. No, mentorship is your interaction with somebody. You shouldn't even know that there is that relationship. Yes. I know Lazi does mentor-mentee relationship. I don't believe in those myself. I believe in a mentorship where you are interacting with somebody. Because if you come in that I have to mentor you, then everything I'll be doing will be more programmed. I need to tell you this. But mentorship is where you see, you observe, you see the conduct. Then that way it is more impactful than saying you are my mentor. I mean, for instance, William Ngomba was one of my mentors. I don't think he ever knew that I was understudy. But we spend more time together. We'd go for lunch together, have wine together, talk about the law, talk about life, talk about... It is me who knew that I'm actually studying this man. And that way it's more impactful. You know, I mean, of course, if he knows that you've taken keen interest in a lot of things, he'll invite you home, invite you to his law firm, invite you to some meetings just to expose you. So that's a better mentorship than you come, let's meet at 14 hours, there's a mentorship session. No, that doesn't work. Yeah.
True, that's true. So let us dive in a bit more in your practice life. The record shows you've considered have interest in ADR.
Yes, I am one of the key practitioners of alternative dispute resolution, and I think my interest grew while I was at UNZA.
Okay.
I think we probably, if I'm not mistaken, we may have been one of the first cohorts to have ADR as a course, and it was being taught by Dr. Patrick Matilini. can't remember whether it was a component within land law or it was created. So I did ADR and I enjoyed the processes, and also I found it much easier to follow in terms of start, and I think I did it as an elective course. So afterwards, I got involved now in ADR practice through the Chartered Institute of Arbitration. I went to the first stage, which is an associate. I became an associate, and I think a year or so later, I joined the executive committee. The following year, I became the honorary secretary, and I think I served my 2 terms. Then I moved, I elevated my qualification to membership. From membership, then I moved to fellowship, which is then, I don't know now, but some few years ago, it was a bit difficult even just to get a fellow. I remember when we were in the executive, probably Zambia had like 3 or 4 fellows. Yeah, but now, no, I was not then. So we used to hear about the deadly exams. So one of those was Judge Charles Kajimanga. Yeah, and he'll tell you how tough those exams used to be, writing awards. Yeah, so, but eventually we got into the class. I think my class was, how many? I think 8 people, and we were one of half passed, 1 failed. So the number of, including Judge Nicola Chap was in my class for scholarship, for fellowship, and yeah, so I'm one of the fellows. So I've practiced, I've been an arbitrator, I've sat in cases. I sit on the international panel for World Intellectual Property list. So I'm able to be picked from different jurisdictions to adjudicate on matters to do with intellectual property law. I sit on a number of other committees in that field. And yeah, so I consider myself as one of the key practitioners in that space. And I'm hoping it can grow now with the launch of the Lusaka International Arbitration Center. So I hope the profession will grow of arbitrators. But you must note that it's not for lawyers. Every professional, we call them primary professionals, accountants, engineers, they need to get on board, because some of the disputes can only be best resolved by those who are from that profession. Yeah, so I am in ADR, so I'm no longer in the committee, but I sit on different areas where my input is required, and yeah, so I practice. I have been fortunate also to act as or to represent client on arbitration sessions, both here and abroad. I mean, I think my highlight was appearing before the London Court of Arbitration in a major case, and being the only Zambian on that case was very exciting. Yeah, learning with working with the English law firms and so on. So that has been my journey in area.
Nice, and it is slowly a developing area of the law. Would you advise young students like us coming up to take an interest in fields like ADR?
I mean, if you want to practice law in this modern times, you have no option, because most contracts now come with an arbitral clause. So if jurisdictions is being taken away from court, especially on commercial transactions, into ADR, you must be able to be knowledgeable. I mean, speaking for myself as somebody who has sat both as an advocate and as an arbitrator, there is a gap, especially from the old lawyers, because ADR came after they had already left university. So they seem not to understand, especially the processes. When you appear with them, sometimes they confuse it with mediation, especially when it comes to arbitration. Yeah, because those processes are different. So you could tell that this is old school. Yeah, so that's why you need to keep on learning, because even it's the area where we are practicing in arbitration, it's growing. If you don't read, you find yourself lost. The jurisprudence is changing every other day. So reading is not even an excuse, you need to participate. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And somebody once told me a huge fan of sports.
Yes.
Yes. Sports Federation.
I don't know how you can describe me. I live, I dream sports. Sports is me.
Really?
So from primary school, I've been active in sports. I was playing football active.
Okay.
I was one of the players at Lusaka Tigers under 16. I played for Young Kwazi under 18. Then I got injured. But not serious injury. The school came in concentration. I was good in athletics, especially at primary school. I think I still hold. I have to go and check if my record has been broken on 100-meter race. I went to Munari. I became a bit wayward. I didn't do much sports because I was more strong in the debate side. So then I've lived sports. Then when I went to Stenhouse, President Banda was a sports animal.
Really?
So there were these two guys now running Stenhouse, and sports was now like
the mainstream.
Their hobby that every day we began by reading newspapers from the back and not the other way around. People don't know President Tropia Banda was and still remains one of the most celebrated boxing promoters Zambia has ever produced. So all Loti Mwares, Samuel Mutis is the one who took them abroad. When it came to football, people don't know that people like Arusha Waria ended up going to play professional football because of people like Arabi, who he was a vice president of FAS. He was chairman of the Chipalamba Football Academy. The team which produced about 7 players in the 2012 AFCON team, which won the Zambia team. They were produced from his academy. So we had that sports connection. I did a bit of martial arts. So I was when I was in State House, I was vice president of Zambia Judo Association. Yes, so part and parcel of judo. Even now, judo is me, I'm judo. I'm current president of Techball Federation of Zambia. I sit on OIDC board. I am a legal advisor and board member of the National Olympics Committee of Zambia. I am the founding president of Esports Federation. In fact, when you were just walking in, the core I was in before then, I was actually on an online meeting with the youngsters. We are trying to turn around esports in this country. So I'm there giving them all the necessary backing so that it takes off. I sit on a number of sports committees. So by virtue of being president, I'm also a member of the Council of the National Sports Council of Zambia. I sit on a committee of anti-doping at the regional level. So you see that my life is sports. You find me, I'm at handball, tomorrow I'm at baseball, then I'm at basketball. I embrace sports like I don't know. And so unknown to me because of my sports involvement. So I was shocked when my son finished his high school and he decided that let's go and do a degree in sports management. I was like, what is that? Then you go and do serious things like law or whatever. He just said, no. I tried to explain to him that, look, I'm a lawyer, I can do sports, but meanwhile I'm running the firm. So do law, then you can do. He said, so do you think you are doing it right? You're not doing it right because you're not trained in sports management. So I said, okay, so he's now doing his, I think, 3rd year in sports management. So
where?
He's in Malaysia. So I'm hoping he will finish and come and transform, according to him, to transform how sports should be done in this country. So by the way, I'm also president of New Monteswaros football team in Southern Province.
Okay, how is that developing? When was it founded?
Monteswaros is one of the oldest teams in this country. No. So those of you who were there, all the times ask your parents, they'll tell you in Southern Province had only one team, which was very big, produced even national players like Dominic Skazwe was from Monteswaros. So I'm the president of Monteswaros.
So how is this faring now?
No, we're okay. We're in Division 1. We are in Division 1 South, so we're doing very well. At some point, this 4 years ago, we qualified the Premier.
Really?
Yes, but of course it was a short stint with the following season we're back.
They get it.
Yeah, because see, sports also needs money. So when I see my colleague Keith Mwemba, I tell him my colleagues because our teams are in Southern Province. He's Musa, Masabuka, me, Monteswaros in Monze. So I don't even come from there, but
that's your passion.
Yes.
Do you ever dream of maybe being the president of FAS?
Well, I mean, there's that talk, if you've been following the news, that people are saying I should stand at first, but I'm not sure actually, really. I've never really deeply thought about it, because remember, I'm a board member at the National Olympics Committee, which is like the motherboard.
Oh.
Yeah, but we'll see. We're still discussing. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
That's some competition up there. People say,
No, we'll see. These things, you shouldn't push yourself. People should push you.
Push you.
Yeah.
I see. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. So if we look at your personal life, so how do you juggle all that? You are a sportsman, you are a lawyer, a journalist. You know your articles. Really, I don't know if you know this. Your articles, the ones you put on LinkedIn, all those are like air to the law students.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Every article that you put on LinkedIn finds itself in the school group. Yes.
Oh, it's good to see, because I do most of these things actually on my phone.
Oh, really?
As a little pastime.
Yes.
You know, I wake up in the morning, I say something, then I'll be writing. You know, so some, of course, I get calls, and so I didn't know that it's. Sometimes I say, what am I doing this? Can I stop? Then someone says, no,
don't stop. That's why junkies can visit jail.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah, so because of that, I even now know some people in the registry. When there's a new judgment, they will call. Even lawyers now will call me and say, I think there's something interesting in this case. So it helps me to keep up with the latest jurisprudence and developments coming from courts, and also it makes me read. So I do those more mainly, not as just as a by the way.
It's really
So I have a client of mine in South Africa. What is when he sends me a message, it was a DJ, slow down. DJ, slow down. And my answer is, I will slow down in the grave. Because I said, look, while I'm alive, let me do what I can. So I rarely have social life. So I plan my early in the morning. I have my diary done up. I know what I need to do in a day. I know what I need to achieve. When I get back, I need to check whether I've achieved what I planned to do. And my target is always I need to be 50% every day of what I intend to do. So I have certain, like Thursday afternoon, unless it's a matter of life and death, you won't see me in the office, you won't see me anywhere. I need to be on the golf course. So Thursday, I play golf. Sunday in the morning, I'll do church. Afternoon, I go to the farm, see my mother, and do a little bit of meet a little bit of kids and so on. But I plan my activities. I plan my activities. I know if I'm going to have a beer, whom am I having a beer with? Is it just to go and have a beer, or there's some blends I need to pick? So that's why I'm picky with people who are in my circles. I don't just go and miss people. No, I'm picky because when I go, when I finish, even in my drink, I've learned something. So one of the things I've learned from my life is I never mixed with my age groups, my contemporaries. No, I always go a little bit notch higher. Because it's a notch higher, meaning I'll be a novice in their group. Because I'm the novice in their group, I'll do more of the listening and learning. And so I get the wisdom. So you find me, it's Friday. I have money. If I want to get land daddies, I'll get land daddies. But I'll spend the whole Friday afternoon with Rupia Banda, sitting with an old man just chatting. I mean, it looks useless, but the school which you go through with that kind of experience is unmeasurable. You can't find it anywhere. And so that's why people think like the DJ is achieving so much. No, just be picky with the things you do, people you interact with, just learning and always trying to do better than you were. I love challenges. So when I'm challenged, so even a case when it's a difficult case, I work extremely hard so that I can break through. I love litigation. I love litigation, especially when you have lawyers from both sides who are well-grounded, and also a judge who's well-grounded. You enjoy litigation because you are pointed this way, you come this way, you pointed this way. So that I enjoy.
What are some cases, judgments that you would dear, that you have argued, that you feel, okay, this one I think this is the best?
Hey, did I ever think about which? I have quite a number of them. Well, I mean, there's one I lost, but it's now a reported case where it's a defamation case. I think it changed the law on how to approach defamation cases. I think Sminga versus Movie TV, and I was representing Movie TV in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So that, yes, I lost, but I think it brought out new things in the thing. I mean, I've been involved in a number of cases. Like, for instance, the presidential petition for 2016. I mean, where the thick and thin of that. President Edgar Lungu's eligibility, I was in the thick and thin of that. So yeah, I've been involved in a number of cases which I can say they're reported, and I'm happy that my name appears there. And yeah, as a firm, I think we're okay. Trying to break evenly. What I notice is that the landscape of practice is changing every day.
Okay.
So you must pay attention to what is it that you need to restructure as a firm, because it's a business. You know, I tell people, if I wanted, my law firm would have been one of the biggest in the firm. I would have had 10, 15 lawyers. Yeah. But I don't want to be boggled into small cases. Yeah, because then it gives you a headache. I don't do sub court.
Okay.
Unless really it's a life and death. So if you see me at the sub court, you just know
There's something.
yes. Because also the timing there, the courtrooms are congested. So the matter is supposed to start at 9. You find you are there the whole day for a matter which is being heard in the afternoon. You would have wasted the whole time. The rate in terms of payments for lawyers for sub court is a bit low. So you then, because I run a business, so I have to make
worth it.
Yes, so I make commercial decisions. Yeah, because I want to run this as a business. But if I want to make it as a charity, I would have taken up. So I'm still toying an idea of seeing if I could check with Lars if it would be permissible. That I could also set up a little charity for small cases. Where I get young lawyers to concentrate on that. Because
on a basis or?
Well, at a very minimal fee, because I get a lot of emails, a lot of people just trying to, you tell them go to legal aid, they seem not to go to, so I'm trying to think I'm still toying with idea, what would be the best way to help the underprivileged who are unable to access justice, and in what form? Can we have an online platform where they can be engaging with a lawyer? So I'm just toying with that idea because I feel the urge to help because I'm seeing the feedback I'm getting. So that's what I do. I try to be of help to society and be relevant. So next project, I've done 5 years at the firm. I have another 5 years to probably retire.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, I know. I plan my time ahead. So I need somebody to come in and learn the show. I should become just a consultant to this law firm. 10 years I would have been. In the next 10 years I should be out of, 5 years out of this law firm and do something else. I'm toying with one idea. I have a piece of land where I need to set up an hospice. As probably one of my contribution to humanity. It's a piece of land where it was bought for a certain purpose and that purpose seemed not to be working. And so I'm just thinking I need to put up an hospice for little kids who are suffering from cancer. I toured twice the cancer diseases hospitals at UTH. What I found there is kids come for treatment from Wapula, Muchinga, I don't know, quite a number of them are from this area. The treatment is about 2 to 3 years, 4 years. So they are stuck at that cancer diseases hospital in those little beds with their mothers. So what that means is that 3-4 years, these kids have no access to education. They're stuck there. The mothers have no access to the kids whom they've left home.
Because they're there.
They are there. So they sit there. They eat the food which is prepared by the hospital. That is if it's prepared and so on. Their relatives are quite out. So I think if I get those kids out of UTH into this hospice with a school where they can be learning while they're getting chemotherapy. So they only get taken to UTH when it's a day for chemo, when they stabilize their blood to this hospice. Their mothers will then live in a communal kind of arrangement. They would cook the food which the kids want to eat. They will eat the food themselves at one because they can't cook at UTH. So that has been my passion for now. And I just think that I can do it. You know, yeah. So that's yeah. So no, it's actually coming up. Yeah. There's some structures we need to start with.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something I need to do as a contribution to humanity. Yes.
That's beautiful.
So that's about my short life.
It's true. It's
FIFA demands that part of payment goes to a club that produced
the player. So Celtic.
No. Did Celtic produce it?
That's what
No, they didn't. So you go to a club that produces. Yeah, Celtic will get a percentage, but where it comes from, yes. So it's called Solidarity Funds. Yeah. So for instance, Mwepu, I think, was from Chambishi.
Yes.
So Chambishi is entitled to a percentage of some payment. Now, it is a claim which is made by a law firm. If you check all these claims for Zambian footballers have been done by a South African law firm in Cape Town and a law firm in the UK. Because there's no firm which was doing that. I'm getting to that niche. To say you don't need a South African, you don't need a UK firm. I'm here to. I remember when I was speaking to NAPSA, they were like, what? Well, did you know that? I said, yes, I'm here. So I'm the first point of call. Yeah, bring your claims here, I get it for you. So that the money remains in Zambia. So you must start identifying spaces that don't exist. Yeah, environmental law is becoming big. If you specialize there, you can get opportunities. Not necessarily even to work in the law firm. You should be looking higher to work in the UN, to work in big commissions. So don't narrow your mind to practice of the law only in the law firms. Yeah, look beyond. Yeah, you need to be a rapporteur for UN, you need to. Lastly, take your first degree as only a first step. If you can, immediately do your master's. The world we're in now, everybody is into masters. Yeah, so I did my degree at UNZA. Then I went to do my master's in human rights, I think, at UNILAS. Then I went to do my master's in intellectual property at Africa University in Zimbabwe, which is hosted the program with World Intellectual Property. That's how I found myself in that arrangement. And they gave me a scholarship actually just after I left Jere. Yeah, I'm doing a master's in sports law now.
Oh, okay. Where?
It's a Spanish university which provides, one of the top ones which provides courses on sports law.
Oh, yeah, Spanish and words.
Yeah, so I need to get in that space. Yeah, I need to get in that space. I'm sitting on the National Olympics Committee. I'm seeing myself, I need to be sitting at the International Olympics Committee. Yeah, so it must be a journey of going up, never to look back. Why? Because we always plan. So if I relax, I'll never achieve what I intend to achieve. Yeah. So that's what I do, is that I program, then I work. Yeah. Like I was just telling you, I'm just finishing a meeting with the youngsters, setting up the Esports Federation. Esports is one of the biggest sports which is coming in the world. Football soon will be overtaken. So in terms of money, it's now getting into esports. Because kids are playing games, FIFA 24, wow. It's big, you know, so we want to tap in that area. So once this federation is done and running, I'll let the kids to run with it. But I would have, babysitted it for where it is. So I'm just there to make sure that I use my connections to make these Zambian kids. Okay, so I have connection at the Global Esports Federation in Saudi Arabia. So I'm talking and I want to take them to that level so that the Zambian kids should be participating in the World Cup, should be participating. So I took the first team to Zone 5 games in Malawi last year, and we got 2 medals, 1 gold and 1 silver, from 2 Zambian. One is a little kid from Nkwazi, I think, was the youngest, 11 years old. The other one was a university student, 19 years. We won medals on the first esports competition in Malawi. So, always find niches, help, develop, I pull back. And I'm happy when I see progress.
Beautiful, beautiful. Planning, deliberate, hardworking, those are ways that we must aim to have in us for us to tap in these opportunities. Our concluding session is known as this or that session, where we give you 2 options and you choose one that you prefer. So our first question is tea or coffee?
Tea.
Okay.
I mean, there's no debate about it. It's a health drink. I like my morning tea with no sugar, black, if possible with a lemon.
Okay.
Yeah, green tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or green tea to be specific.
Yeah, like I say, the more you interact, the more you adopt to certain habits,
Yes.
the more you learn certain things. As a youngster, I think that time I was a journalist, I used to go to Roger Tongwe, RMA.
Okay.
RMA was the biggest law firm in this country. It has produced all these, Robert Meza, John Sangwa, they are all products of Joseph Jalasi, they are products of RMA. And each time you go there, he would offer you tea but without sugar and whatever. You'll be wondering. Now it's time, it's healthy. It's the same like eating salmon, whatever. It's an acquired taste. So, but you can only acquire those tastes when you mingle in certain spaces. So because you mingle in certain spaces, you learn several things. I've always joked about one incident. WDM, which we don't remember, invited me for breakfast at his house. Yeah, and us Muntus, we believe in a proper breakfast. And when there, I found he had just cut some few pieces of pawpaw and a cup of tea, and I got this breakfast. Then later I was like, oh, health breakfast. Yeah, so these things you develop them or you acquire them as you grow. So I'm a tea person. I do coffee once in a while, but tea, yes.
Chelsea or Manchester United?
No, none. I'm Arsenal. I'm Arsenal through and through. This morning I saw West Ham page.
Yes.
They put out a notice that they are traveling to Manchester to go and play the last game, and I commented. I think it's one of now the trending comment on that page. Just said, go and park the bus and make sure you will force a draw. You will be the true heroes of the 2023-2024 season, because Arsenal doesn't have work, but it will not be Arsenal. It will be that you are the true heroes. So I'm optimistic. A miracle can happen.
We'll see.
Chelsea is just starting to play good football in the last days. But Man U is completely finished. Starting with their stadium.
Well, journalism or law?
Both. In fact, it's a very incredible combination, I must tell you.
Okay.
I never realized is that. So the first time I went to, when I was part of the bar, I think the first thing we discussed with Professor Munda, he told me you have a deadly combination.
Oh.
He told me you have a deadly combination because you are able to write. And you are able to simplify. So I find it easy to write submissions. I find it easy. Affidavits, most of the time, within 10-15 minutes I'm done, because the English is already there, the flow is already there, it's just the thinking. So that's, deadly combination.
Messi or
Ronaldo? I'm on Ronaldo's side. I think I'm on Ronaldo's side. I think you can see the skill, you can see the other one, I don't know what.
The hard work is
I don't know what the other one doing, even though he keeps on winning.
Well, thank you very much.
It's ended.
You don't have to go away now.
No.
Maybe one just last question. Person that or fashion sakara?
I'm conflicted. They are two my boys.
They're your boys, right?
Those are my boys.
Well, I'll put you on the spot, and I'm sure they are listening. They'll listen to this.
No, they are my two boys, and they play two different football.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you even to choose between those two.
The love for Zambia will get both.
Yes. I just love the way the Zambian talent is developing.
Okay.
Yesterday I posted something for those who follow me about a youngster,
Okay.
a Zambian who's playing for Crystal Palace.
Okay.
It's a boy called Samuel Alusale.
Okay.
And the whole world is talking about this boy. So the mother is from Slovakia.
Okay.
And the Slovakian national team have announced and picking this boy for their under 18 national team.
Okay.
And I'm saying, look, but this boy is Zambian. His family is here.
Was they confirmed?
Yes. The Slovakia have announced they're picking this boy because it's just won the under 18 league for Crystal Palace in the UK. Yeah, so it's a much talked about boy. You know, I remember when I was showing my son yesterday that we don't know about him. I said, yes, that's a problem. So this is a boy who needs to be quickly tapped. He's only 16 years. Yeah, I'm already making headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, we need to get all these kids and make football. You know, sports changes life.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that makes me passionate about it. You find, I'm in the National Olympics Committee.
Yes.
There's what we call solidarity funds.
Okay.
When you get these solidarity funds, you put these kids on solidarity fund and they get like $700-800 per month.
Okay.
It is not about them. The entire family transformed.
Yes.
There's a little boy, a swimmer, push for that is from Mandevo area there is getting $750. Means he can pay for school fees for his young sister. His mother is now dependent. There can be food. So sports transforms. Yeah, fashion is from the village in Chipata. Today is able to pay 700 and 450,000 to a football tournament in Eastern Front from his pocket. He's building. I don't know what you say about that. He's planning to build a hospital in his village to cater for the underprivileged because there's no hospital there. Now, that's a boy who few years ago he was just in the body.
Yes.
That's what sports does. Muzala, fantastic story. Yeah, living in Ngombe today, is a beautiful house. So sports has instant transformation of life. So when I see sports, I see transformation. So I love that. So sports is not entertainment. It is a transformation of life. Yeah, and so that's why I'm passionate about OYDC. I sit on the board. That place must transform the lives of people in Mandevu, in Chaisa, in Mateo. Those talking about junkies, those junkies should be running. They should be sending them. There's one coach in Zambia who specializes in picking kids who want to enter universities in the US by training them in athletics to beat the entry time for university. So he's producing them not for the running career, but for them to enter the university. They start just running for university. They stay there forever. Yeah. We need to develop those kind of initiatives. Nigerians, they find every way to get into these top places. Yeah, so I hope you guys, I wish you all the best. You finish your school, you go and do Ziyare. It's no longer as difficult as it used to be. Find a niche where you can now be, felt. It's not easy to practice. By the way, I always tell young people that don't jump from this law firm to this law firm to this law firm. You won't learn. Yeah, stick a little bit with one person. That gives you a bit of stability. So I'll tell you, so there's Professor Mvu, but I have Sakiwa Scott.
Oh, yes.
Every time I needed to bounce at something, I would go to Sakiwa Scott. So I've had 2 state councils who literally, move with me. Even when I'm stuck in a case, and I tell the client I need backup, inevitably you see it to be Sakiwa Scott coming on the team. Because I've had that long relationship. He was my lawyer, by the way. Yeah, when I was a little boy, I was arrested for espionage. I was arrested for treason.
Those journalism.
Yeah, so Saki has always been my lawyer. So we came from all that law. Now we are practicing together on the law side. Sometimes we're on the opposite side. Yeah, so Stick to people who can drive you. It's always easy because they're putting a weight for this one, they're putting a weight for you, they're putting a weight. That's how the life operates in any situation. It is a weight which is putting. Yeah, if somebody higher, respected, putting a weight for you, it's always easy. Lastly, just be deliberate with whatever you want to do. It was yesterday, I was about to write about it actually.
Okay.
Somebody, a young lawyer, wrote me, no, it was yesterday when I was playing golf actually, wrote me like a like 2 sentence or 2 paragraph message on my phone. This is blah blah blah, I'm 4 years at the bar. I'm looking for a job. Second, if you hire me, you won't be disappointed with my hard work and work culture. Full stop. So I checked. I was playing with 2 guys. I said, you know, I'm not recruiting, but this is just hit me. So I immediately responded. I said, you know, because it's straightforward and it just speaks to what we, the managing partners of law firms, have been saying.
Okay.
They're just the work culture among children is just totally different, you know. So this touched on 2 things: work ethics and hard work, which actually summarizes everything. So the CVs we get, blah blah blah, I'm approachable. Those things don't matter, you know. So now I can now take interest. I want to know more about you because that was catchy, touchy. Yes. Then I can respond. I didn't respond. Ordinarily, I would have forwarded it to my peer to go. But because it was catchy, it was hard work, ethics. Yeah. Because these things are the ones which are dying in the practice now. Young people, they've flown ethics out of the window, and they just know hard work. They want to drive a beautiful car, but don't want to work. Yeah. You want to, I don't know whether you guys saw my story about my Toyota Corolla.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So that's how it begin. Story. I began in Toyota Corolla. I drive a Range Rover because I can afford. Isn't it?
Through hard work.
Yeah, but I can tell you that I came from, you know, Toyota Corolla. I moved to another Corolla. I moved to what? I moved to a Pajero. So when I drive a Range Rover, nobody even, you know, bothers, doesn't raise any earplugs because they say, but he's been in the struggle. Yeah, the moment you are young, you buy a Range Rover, but the maintenance is high. How are you going to maintain it? You know, so you buy a BMW, how are you going to maintain it? Yeah, and also as a young guy, you begin with a van or whatever because you must have a project you are doing so that it helps you. I've just posted something based on my golf yesterday with a guy called Henry Gilas. I don't know whether you know him. He was a journalist at ZNBC, then he went in foreign service. He's just come back. And he was telling me how difficult it is for young people like him and whatever who have gone in foreign service, then they have been recalled, to come back and reintegrate. And say, I said, that is why me have always refused a position in foreign service. Okay. Unless maybe now I could say yes because my 2 kids are in university.
I don't know you could.
Yeah, I don't live with them. But you see, if you take young kids, you go and stay for 5 years. You come back, they're just getting to grades 7, 8. They are from top schools in Europe, in America. They come, which school are you going to take them there? So here, the equivalent to the Baobab, Trident. Do you have the money to pay? You don't have. So you disorient the kids. You know, that's why you find these ambassadors, they come back, they're suffering and they die. Because you must think through. So he was telling me how it's been difficult for him to integrate because opportunities are a bit different. See, unless you're a career diplomat, which we don't have anymore, where you are recalled, you come here for a year, they send you to another country. Here, when you are recalled, you're just on the street. You only carry your title ambassador anywhere. Yeah. So when you are making career decision, always think through. So those who make it in the foreign service are the ones coming from the OP, from defense forces, immigration. Okay. So they go, there's a colonel, he comes back, he's to a colonel, he gets back his job here. Oh.
You who's picked as a cadre to go as first secretary, you come back, nothing happens. Yeah. So always, just like state house jobs, when you get into state house as a special assistant, your next move is out. You become unemployable. I mean, I can't be right now. So always plan. Why are you in state house when you are coming out? What is your next step? Because you're not going to be looking for jobs. That is why when I went there, I knew my exit, and I said, my next stop is practice of the law. Then it will give me dignity. It will give me also using the opportunities and contacts I made there to interact with them. So everything is just deliberate. Nothing happens by luck. If it happens by luck, we say opportunity favors the prepared. So if you're not prepared, even if the opportunity comes, you won't know what to do with it. I'll tell you, and I've said this, I can be put in the same meeting or in the same conference or in the same cocktail party with 2-3 other friends, but at the end of the day, I'll tell you that I'll probably come out with a deal or a next move which will take me at a different level. That's how I've been brought up in terms of being groomed. RB always tells me, never let an opportunity leave you. Opportunities always come disguised. Yeah. So one of the things he taught me, whenever we travel, I'll be speaking to a president. You have a counterpart. You also should always find your counterpart. Exchange numbers. And so when, like my close friend now in South Africa is a spokesperson for President Ramaphosa. I have access to the presidency of South Africa because of my colleague. Now, how did I know him? It's because I've been told him always exchange numbers. Rwanda, the girl has just been appointed now as government chief spokesperson and presidential. Knew her when continue. So this is how you build. This is how you build. I was in the one arbitration in London. I met this Israeli lawyer. We just had a simple discussion. Next, he told me, oh, he wanted to visit Zambia, Today, he's my biggest partner in most of my businesses. Just one interaction. But he met other Zambian lawyers. He interacted with so many people. It's how you are deliberate about getting things done. So today we are trying to buy land in Livingstone to build. Just from an arbitration hearing in London, which both of us were representing the same client, me coming from Zambia, I was coming from Israel. We met by accident. Yeah, so we even have a company called Jere Investment, which is Dickson Jere Investment. Yeah, so we always laugh. Our client is a bit difficult guy. So we always say, through a difficult client and a difficult situation came a beautiful relationship. Yeah, so we call this relationship born out of a difficult situation. Yeah,
it couldn't have happened if you were deliberate.
Yes, so we say we thank him for having hired us, even though he's a difficult guy. It made us connect. So see opportunities in difficulties. And
I'm sure the relationship has outlasted the one you
of course. In every difficulty there's an opportunity. That's why people who make money in situations where there's war.
Oh.
Because that's where opportunities are. But us, we don't see opportunities. It's also the perception. The saying that people celebrate that roses have thorns, but some complain that thorns have roses. So it's how
your perception.
It's a perception of life. Yeah. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you for visiting us at this humble place where our chambers are situated. We've been here for the last 5 years, and we are hoping we'll be here forever. Yes.
Your first comments when I asked my first question, you said we can spend at this forever. Little did I know you meant literally. We could have gone forever.
Yes, because
well, thank you very much. This is in preparation for our forthcoming Scribe magazine, and this will be our feature interview with the great man here, Mr. Dickson Jere. So this is also another word for encouragement for you, our viewers. Please take time to read through the articles which are purely written by students across the country. So we really hope that you find time to read the articles that will be published in the forthcoming Scribe magazine later next month, early next month.
Thank you. I look forward to the publication. Just let me know when it's out so that I can also circulate it with my connections.
Thank you very much. We're out.